the domestic stuff, but, no, I mean, there's Hotspur and his wife, at home. There's Othello and Desdemona in the bedroom. I mean, those are not public scenes. But generally, it's about public. In the same sense that how much real privacy does the head of state really have? I mean, even when the president goes to the bathroom, he's probably looking for cameras, that are following him. So, it's like Shakespeare.
POTUS is in the potty.
Yeah, Shakespeare's about heads of state. So many of the plays are heads of state, right? Yeah. So, you have, and Mark Antony is not a head of state, but he's up there. So he knows how to address publicly rather than just converse. So that speech comes with a sense of, even in a small room, there's a sense of rhetoric. Rather than, once upon a time I had this and that, and that's to me is the challenge of doing contemporary Shakespeare. That people who, when they do contemporary Shakespeare, often go, to be or not to be, that's the question. Whether 'tis noble in the mind to suffer this slings and arrows of riches. You know what I mean? Fortune. I mean, that's not really doing it justice. So you have to kind of find what translates to contemporary without losing the reality that Mark Antony is a politician, a future head of state in his mind. He's trained to be the head of state. And this speech is going to make or break him.
It's going to turn the tide. Yeah.
It's going to turn the tide, and he has all the pressure on him to. It's the biggest speech he's ever made in his life. He was born to do this speech. He was trained to do this speech. He's going to use the death of Caesar to spurn everyone and get him ahead.
Yeah.
This is going to get him ahead. His good friend Caesar, yeah, okay, I'm sorry you're dead, but me. It's really, I'm going to turn the tide for me, which he does, So there is that sense of I am great in the way he gives this speech.
He's campaigning.
He's well, like all politicians,
Yeah, he's
they're always
campaigning.
campaigning. They're always
Yeah.
campaigning.
Yeah.
Always campaigning. They're never kind of just having a drink and relaxing. I was watching the hearings today. I was watching the hearings every day. I watch the hearings. Why? Why don't you?
You can't resist them once you turn them on.
No, but why? No, but I mean, as an actor, why don't you watch them?
Yeah.
I mean, the acting is incredible.
Yeah.
The rhetoric, the speech making. I don't care who's Republican and who's Democrat. I just watch.
The craft.
I watch the craft, and boy, are they good. Ooh, I admire the Republican. I'm not a Republican. I admire them. The way they. Some people can't even watch them. They hate them so much. I go, what are you kidding? This is a great study. What do you mean study? I said, these are acting. Look at the technique that Republicans using to grill that poor lady. And look how she's defending herself. Look how she's defending herself. What a pisser she is. She knows how to keep her composure. She knows how to, This is great lessons. Now it's over, but you should watch.
That's what I was saying. I think last week, I was talking to you, I don't remember, about using your life experience to use the imagination, call up. Like Roger's saying, watch these politicians, put them away, study them, put them away. You might have to bring that out, and there's nothing wrong with it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
It's very, yeah.
It's
Yeah, okay. So, great.
when I find it, I'll tell you exactly the way I said it. I belong to a creative intuition, creative through intuition class, which is really Twilight Zone, but it's very interesting, and I came up with this, it's the same thing, I wrote it down, let me just get it. I mean, talk among yourselves. Till I find it, because I wrote it down, and I thought of the class, I thought of you guys. It's like when I was saying, you know, I channel Sidney Greenstreet, or I channel this actor, or I channel this opera singer that I saw years ago. You know, you just, that's what Roger's saying, keep your eyes open to all these things.
You know, you make a good point, like in the breakdowns, I used to work at an agent's office in the 1880s, and the breakdowns would come out for Law and Order, you know, and they wanted everything yesterday, of course. And they had thumbnails, and they say, we want a Sidney Greenstreet type.
Yeah.
And right away, that's an amazing clue of how to approach the character. So if you can thumbnail with a few people in your mind, oh yeah, I like the way he did that in Maltese Falcon, yeah, boom, you got a clue into insight into the
You
character.
gotta watch Sidney Greenstreet and Joan Crawford. He puts her up against the wall by whispering to her.
Oh.
He said, I'll destroy you. With a big smile on his face. He said, you know, he runs a town, a southern town. He's a southern whiz. And he just looks at her and says, I'll destroy you. And she's, Joan Crawford. I mean, you know, that's quite a bunch.
You talking Touch of Evil or?
No, Flamingo Road.
Oh, okay.
Okay, Lulu, it was wonderful. I thought really lifelike, very natural, and just didn't seem like you were acting. Yeah,
That was
so I
the
thought it
first
was-
time I tried it.
But I don't know the situation, so I can't really address.
She was in jail. She's in jail and she's about to get released. So they were asking her,
Yeah.
"Are you gonna be released? Are you gonna go back to the life, you know, the criminal life that you?"
Yeah.
So she was trying to say she just wants a simple life. She gets emotional about.
Who's she talking to?
I think it was one of the paroles from jail that's gonna set her free. That's gonna sign the paper to get her out of jail, out of prison. So I think it's a parole, because they don't show his face, like, I think in the movie, yeah, I think it's like the parole officer. That is like.
What's your relationship to the parole office?
I don't know him. I'm trying to convince him that I just want a simple life,
Yes.
and I'm not gonna go back to.
And does he have power over you?
Yes.
Okay. And is this the end of, this the last chance you'll have to
Come this way.
get what you need?
To get out of jail.
See, I think for you, and for all of us, that always is a key, that it's not just, you're not just asking for something, but this is your last chance.
Mhm.
So the stakes are higher. If you can always make it, the stakes higher, then you're always on the right road, because it usually drama is about the stakes being very high. Otherwise, it's just conversation. It's just talk. But if there's a real do or die reason to say a speech, it doesn't have to be loud or soft or, but then there's something that really you have to accomplish within 10 minutes or the whole house is gonna blow up. Do you know what I mean? And good plays usually have enough of that. You don't have to work too hard to find it. If you have to work that hard to find it, then it's probably not a great play or a great movie. It might be great writing, great conversation. You like the lines, but it's going to be hard to play the drama. And a lot of plays are like that, and that's why they're just kind of, okay. They're not really great because there's nothing, Serge, that character's getting closer to you, So Angie, that's what the play again is, Edna?
Yeah,
Waiting for Lefty.
Waiting for
Lefty,
Lefty.
yeah. So I forget the character, I don't know the character as well as I should. I haven't read it in a while.
Okay.
Who is she?
she's married to Joe, and
My what?
she is married to Joe. They're married, and
Alright, so she's
it's
a
the
wife?
Great Depression. She's a wife, and
what kind
they
of
just
wife?
took her furniture.
What kind of wife is she?
she has 2 kids and they're starving.
Okay.
And they just took all their furniture.
Yeah. And she's talking to,
She's talking to her husband.
and what does she want from him?
She wants him to go on strike.
On strike?
Yeah.
How much does she want him to go on strike?
It's everything that she wants.
Oh, I
Yeah.
didn't get that.
You didn't get that, yeah.
No, it was real. You see, it was natural, it was real, you weren't acting, you were just, but there was nothing happening. To me, for me, you know. I mean, she's desperate, I think, huh?
Yeah, she is.
I would never get that. Does it mean you have to be louder? No. Does it
Okay.
mean you have to be softer? No. It means you have to have something going on.
Yeah.
Have you ever been that desperate? Have you ever been that desperate?
I mean, not in the same position, but I've been desperate.
So your job is
Times.
to, well, that's what you have to work.
Yeah, okay.
You bring that to it.
Yeah.
If, you know, if you don't have the feeling for that character in the situation tonight, then you have to use an emotional recall or some kind of thing. Those exercises, you know, all that stuff, emotional recall, sense memory, all that,
Yeah.
that's only when you can't come up with it. It's not like a rule that you have to use that stuff.
It's a plan B.
Huh?
It's a plan B.
It's plan B, yeah. It's what you use when you're stuck. It's what you use when you come to the theater or to the location and you don't feel good. And you can't say, I'm sorry, I don't feel good, I'll come back tomorrow. Which is what Sean Penn did out in Hollywood when he was in David Rave's play. I'll never forget it. I lost all my respect for the guy. I love him as an actor. He was in David Rave's play.
Hurly Burly?
What?
Hurly Burly?
Yeah, it was. And he just told the audience out in L.A., you know, I don't feel it tonight. Come back again next week.
Wow, that's so professional.
I mean, what do you think?
Sean Penn.
And the reason he
Yeah,
did that was he said, it's Hollywood. Nobody gives a shit about theater. They'll come back. You know, I mean, I'm sure he, you know, probably he might regret it now. But, you know, you got to, hi, Mike. Oh, look what the cat brought in.
Sorry.
That's all right. Yeah, it's good to see you. So, yeah. Yeah, natural. What else you got? You know, people always go, oh, she's so natural, he's so natural, he's so good. What else you got? I mean, I always say this, if you have to work on being natural, maybe you should find something else to do rather than just acting. Because natural is where you begin. That's what you have.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to work at making it seem conversational, like Jimmy Caan, the actor. You know James Caan? He always said the hardest thing was, I always thought of him as so real, but he said it was so hard for him, it took him a while, you know, that he had to say the lines over and over, his film lines, until they became so natural to him. It didn't come easy. He said, because when I see him, it's so natural, it's like he's not acting. But he said he had to really work hard to say the lines again and again and again off camera. But usually, if you're not natural, there are other jobs you could do. You can't, and natural is not something you. It's like when people come to anybody and say, "I want to study with you. Make me talented. Make me talented. Make me an actor." I go, "What? Make me?" I said, "No, I can't teach you acting. Who can teach acting? You can't. I can give you some basic stuff that acting is something you either have or, you know, and then I can refine it, heighten it, whatever, but, you know, I can't make you an actor." "Oh, you can't? Oh, no. Well, forget it then." It's true, I mean, so it's got wonderful, because it was, again, close to you. I love that. And you know, Molière is on one hand there can be a lot of stylization, which I love with Molière, rather than hide from it. I love it. I love it. But that's my taste. A lot of people, no, you know, don't stylize anything, you know, I want just real. But I think, for instance, with Molière, for instance, what kind of character is this guy? I mean, what part of Scott is he? Because now it's just Scott. But in terms of comedy, when you talk about comedy, it's about using yourself and not just playing the joke, but you have to have the timing, which again, by the way, you can not really teach timing. You can say, take 2 beats after that word and then say it. But if you don't have a feeling for timing, I don't think you can teach that. You can't teach timing. No, it's something you have. But I mean, is he kind of goofy in certain ways? Is he kind of, I mean, who is this guy? Comedy is, don't be afraid to find a character in him. You see, when you're doing Molière. Now, Molière can be very stylized with his plays, but I like the fact that you're using yourself. That always has to be. But, you know, in this situation, you know, who's he talking to, and what kind of character would he be? What kind of animal? Is he a bear? Is he a giraffe? Is he a, you know, I mean, just in terms of thinking about character. I mean, just thinking, you may not use any of it, but when you do comedy, physicalization can be part of it. How does he move? I mean, is every part you do the same the way you move, and do you talk the same every time, you know? Don't be afraid to do that.
Yeah.
In a world where, particularly in New York and LA, overacting. No, I mean, you got to make choices, and you got to, you know, don't be afraid. Don't tell Al Pacino not to overact. Hoo-ha! You know, he's full of, you know, he finds the reality in big things that he does with characters. You know, he's a wonderful character actor. He's always different. And the great actors are that way. They have a way to, I think, the great actors, most of the great actors, not all of them. Spencer Tracy was usually Spencer Tracy, you know. But he also played some characters, but not many, and he was great.
You didn't use the Wilbur translation, right?
Huh? No.
I don't know who the translator is.
Oh, Wilbur. Look at Wilbur, because Wilbur just feeds you the comedy. If you just, it's
Okay.
written in couplets.
That's a great idea.
And
Thank you.
the rhyming will tell you exactly what's going on.
Richard Wilbur is a
Richard
great
Wilbur,
idea.
yeah.
There are lots of translations.
Yeah, but he's considered a genius
Well-
for translating the French.
It's all taste and all that, but Wilbur, what he does is, he gives the rhyme couplets.
Yeah, the way it's written in
He
French.
gives you rhyme couplets, and it bring out some of the humor,
It's very funny.
Okay.
you know, and there's poetry in just that, and the style comes just from the way he gives you the words that rhyme.
Oh,
So,
You know what, maybe there's some ways you can personalize things too. When he mentioned Al Pacino, I got to see him in Shakespeare in the Park. And at the very end, I don't know if you know this, Roger, at the very end of the play, after he's been forced to convert to Christianity, he walks off the set on the stage, and as he walks off, he slaps his yarmulke back on and walks off. And I don't know if that was Pacino or if that was the director, but he made the part
Right.
uniquely his own when he did that.
yeah,
Wow.
little touches that do that.
Yeah.
But aside from that, just physical things and vocal things, you know,
Yeah.
that's sacrilege to say in certain anti-theatrical circles, you know. The theater has become very small. The style of acting today is very small.
Thank you, Norma Desmond.
All the arts are suffering from the same thing, all of them. All of
It's small, which means that actors now can't handle language, because language demands sound and voice. And for certain film work, you can make it smaller and whatever, but that doesn't mean all acting is. Yeah.
Thank you, Norma Desmond.
Yes. That's right, Norma Desmond. You know? So go for it. Chris, it's coming beautifully, yeah. It really, you're getting that character down. JJ, you're using yourself much better now, and you got a great sense, you always have a sense of language.
I like this intimacy you have to do it, and it's.
Well, I think it helps you.
Yeah,
Particularly because you love to project and you don't need to, because you're so big in certain ways. Your expression, your vocal work is always pretty much intact. So
Thanks.
Keep it closer to you, make it organic, and you'll be always better off. And then it's not so actory. It's you as Falstaff.
You made me think of a possible great exercise. I have a friend I was thinking of going to a real bar, Bart at the bar. Well,
Yeah.
you'll find out about that stuff, the new people. But the idea of going to a place like this and doing whatever Shakespeare conversationally. So if I could go into a bar, or we make a bar with the set, or whatever the ATA, whatever set we're on, even here. And I come to the bartender, and I've just been thrown into the water, and I say, "The rogue slighted me in the water with... They didn't even regard me. Do you have any sack?" And making it a conversation, and I think that would be fun to try as an exercise. What do you
That's what
think?
the scene is. He's talking to a bartender, the owner of the inn.
Yeah,
Did you
yeah.
ever go to Shakespeare? It's like a bar pub crawl that they would do plainclothes actors, and they basically, it's like a pub crawl where there are plainclothes actors in the crowd, and then
Is that here in the city?
yeah, oh yeah, I've been to it. And then all of a sudden they break out to Shakespeare scenes.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually went this last time, and they did a scene from a Moliere play.
Maybe you can tell us the website.
It's just called Shakespeare, is shakes and then
And beer.
and beer.
Oh, that's so cool.
Where is it located?
It's it was way downtown,
Go in
near
my
the Financial
bedroom,
District. Yeah.
by my sewing machine. I think there's still a
But
chair
wouldn't that be a fun
left
way to
there.
shoot it, Roger?
Just put all the stuff on the chair on my
Two
bed.
chairs, people talking
and bring
intimately
the chair
like
out
that?
if it hasn't been brought out.
Alright, is it to this corner?
This first door on the right.
Alright, thanks.
But
Yeah.
it's awesome because
Roger
all of a
is.
sudden-
I'm sorry.
Please, Mel.
Sometimes Roger and I play good cop, bad cop.
Sometimes.
All the time.
He was very kind to you, what he was saying to each one of you. I'm sitting here as the audience that has paid $225 for my orchestra seat. At no time did most of you make me feel that you gave a shit whether I heard you, cared what you were saying, or engaged me. You were being very indulgent, and I learned all of these words, and I'm sitting here and I'm masturbating, but don't watch me because I don't care whether you're there or not. And there's an audience out there, and most of you are forgetting that you are the vehicle from the writer to the audience. I mean, I could go home and read what you people said, but I want you to grab my emotions, engage me, and make me feel as though, wow, something really happened when I was in the theater that night. So you got a long way there was a lot of mumbling self-indulgence. Oh, Mildred, you sound like such a bitch. I thought you were such a nice lady. Well, I am, because it's your writer, it's you, and it's the audience. And if you're just going to kind of mumble to yourself, and I'll stay home. I don't have to pay that kind of money. But you got to pull me in. You got to grab me. Who, like Roger said, who are you? How do you feel about what you were saying? Why are you saying that? Are you leaning forward? Do I care? Do you make me care about the person that the writer created? And isn't that what you want an actor to do? When you hand them a script, don't you want the actor, as a writer, don't you want the actor to make that person that you wrote come alive? Absolutely. Absolutely. You got the first stage, you picked a piece, you're kind of comfortable, you like it, but you know, you killed the baby. I'll be nice in my next comment.
Oh, you're
I mean-
vicious, you're vicious. So let's, hey Scott, do you have a copy of your Metcalf? It's,
Is that something you can hook up to my
Stephen Metcalf,
TV?
yeah.
I don't, there's a wire
Okay.
that hangs out of the side there,
Just wondered
so
what you
they
have.
can see themselves on camera. Do you know how to do that?
Simultaneously, no,
Um,
but all the stuff I'm shooting for him, I
and,
post it up to YouTube.
so-
Do you watch YouTube at all?
I
I
guess.
do.
Oh.
The one you.
All the
just wondered.
videos I've been shooting for him.
Oh,
With a
because I
woman,
know,
right?
I
It's
see
with a woman.
the wire there, and I know my kids know how to attach it
Yeah.
to
The
some,
one you
whatever
showed
they
me was
have.
with a woman, right?
And I don't know whether that
I like
camera
it.
does that.
Do you have
I sent
email?
you two?
Do you have
No, I
email?
mean, Steve-
What?
Steve,
Do you have email
what's
address?
his-
Oh,
sent me
yeah.
Jeff.
Well,
Yeah.
give it to me
Oh,
afterwards, and you have a
Oh,
card,
it's not that
I have
I'm,
two.
and I'll send it to you so you can watch it, all
I
the
don't either.
videos.
Jeffrey
I'm
Sweet is with the
watching
guy,
here,
the Metcalf
but I
is
was
with the
thinking
woman.
of the, you know, if
Well,
you
if
wanted
I had a
them to each
monitor-
see
Well,
themselves
with a
on
woman
camera,
Um,
I
on
have two
camera
copies
and
of the one of
see
the two guys,
how
and I
they
only have one
felt
copy
about
of the
what they were
the
doing.
woman.
Oh,
But
one
I'll
copy,
print up
one
two.
I don't know if
of
it can be simultaneous, that's
Yeah.
worth trying though.
Okay. Did you get a,
Let's go with,
did you get a chair? Who was it?
It was me, thank you.
You found a
Yes.
chair?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
See
so
how
hold on,
nice I
let's
can
try,
do it.
let's start with you. Let's have your
Maybe when it's over, since I wanna get all his good juicy
Virgin
comments and
scenes.
yours, we can play
Virgin
for a few
scenes.
minutes to see if it would work in the future.
Okay, I'll stay on.
Maybe, I don't know.
Unless you've
Sure,
had,
it's fine.
yeah. I need 8-year-old Dr. Frederick, who can do 8 years old.
8-year-old Dr. Frederick,
I can
Yeah.
do it.
it sounds like a good role for Scott.
He did a good 10-year-old last Saturday.
Yeah, he did.
I don't know, I got an impulse to say Scott when I first
Yeah.
met him. Yeah.
Look at the baby face on the kid, look at him. What a great face.
Okay, and I need Frederick's father.
Frederick's father,
Alcoholic father.
Tom. Could that be Tom?
Yes. And somebody for stage direction.